start recording finale. Yes, hello, welcome friend to Witch Hat Atelier finale. Why talk like this? I don't know. Welcome to the finale of Witch Hat Atelier Season 1, which I have a pretty good idea of where it's ending, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm curious to find out. I don't think we'll get to the moment that I'm talking about with Riche. I think I might have to wait for Season 2 for that, and that annoys me terribly because I want to talk about it, but I'll keep my mouth shut. But still, like, we'll get to it. Season 2 is coming. It's coming. They're working on it. They put out a trailer today, I think, or something, but I will not speak of it. I will keep my mouth shut about spoilers. I will try my very best. And yeah, if you're tuning in for the finale and you haven't watched my previous reactions, which is fine, you don't have to. The way that I do it is I don't put the anime on screen, generally, for you to watch alongside me because of copyright things and reasons and such. Instead, what I do is I do this, where you get a little subtitle thing at the bottom of the screen, and you get a timestamp in the top left, and you'll use that to stay in time with me and synchronize with a copy of Witch Hat Atelier on your own monitor. Because that way I avoid dealing with copyright claims, and it's much easier for me. And every once in a while, whenever I need to yap about something, I'll say 3, 2, 1, pause, and we'll pause at the same time, and then I'll say 3, 2, 1, go, and we'll go at the same time, and we stay in sync that way. It's inconvenient for you, it's convenient for me, and that's the way I like it, because this is my lazy relaxation channel where I don't put in too much work. I say this as though I'm not putting in tremendous amounts of work into this channel, despite my best efforts not to do it, but that's just my psychosis. Anyway, if you want to watch these reactions a little bit more conveniently, you can join the Discord. It's full of people, I'm sure. They are human beings, some of them. Last I checked, anyway, but you never know. Things can change. Or you can become a member of the channel, which also gives you access to the Discord. But there's also a way for you to watch some more convenient versions of these reactions that are a little bit easier to deal with than my stop and start nonsense, if you want. That's about $1 a month. But you don't have to. You can just do it like this. I have been told by reliable sources that this is more or less a watchable way of doing things somehow. And if it isn't, too bad, because this is how I'm doing it, because I'm lazy. So, 3, 2, 1, go. What a good intro. Sad it's the last we're hearing of it. Yes, she is. Yeah, the spell, that's what she likes. Only straight thing about any of this. That's good and normal. Don't worry about it. Yay. Ooh. Don't get any angry chi points, Uni. Oh, cheerio, governor! Oi, Pip Pip, Mary Poppins! Oh, pretty. Three, two, one, pause. Everything's fine, by the way. Don't worry. Everything's cool. She's so good. They really animated the... Oof. Yeah, no, you don't want to get hit with a rock there. I mean, you don't want to get hit with a rock anywhere, but right on the spine? That's like right between the shoulder blades. Oh, Lord. It's such a nice somersault, too. It's a pity. I will say, Keyfree, like, maybe slightly bad idea to stop falling in the middle of... in the middle of a landslide. Natural reaction, I'm not blaming him necessarily. Still, it's like, the rocks are still falling, man. Hey, Brush Buddy. Oh. Let's see, how many frames is this? This is like a... Yes, Hermes, what? What? Man. Screaming outside. Let's see, how many frames are we working with here? We're doing... Let's count from here. Okay, so that's not cycled, so we're up to... Here, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're doing like an 8-frame cycle here, I think. Yeah, they're cycling the actual road on 8 frames, doing a really good job of, like, you can see how they keep moving the volumes on the horizon to give that impression of, like, this scaled, bumpy path sort of, like, pushing into view from below. That's really well managed, because, like, you get distracted by the texture, but all that the principal animator is really doing is managing the width and curve of all these overlapping lines, and then you get that illusion of like a road progressing underfoot. And then some lovely run animations over the top of that. And I do like this way of communicating that they're running in darkness, right? Like, they don't know where they're going. So we get this, they poke out of the darkness here, they poke out of the darkness there, and then they... It's very Scooby-Doo coded, in a way, right? It's very Scooby-Doo gang running through doors-esque. It's a little silly, but it's a good way to communicate the fact that they are going hither and thither, and they don't have a path or a direction, necessarily. Yay. They really told the voice actor to go ham with this role. They really did. Again, I'm listening to the English version, but... Well, isn't this interesting? You actually managed to hide from me. I have no idea how accurate it is. I don't... Like, I have heard too many really silly, over-the-top Cockney accents to be able to pick out when one is authentic, so I'll let British people tell me in the comments the extent to which this is... This is real, but I do like how... I like that the voice acting in Witch Hat Atelier is so... It commits to its accents, right? Olrugio is a fucking Yorkshireman, right? He's from Yorkshire up north, right? They really commit to it. They've got the Irish lads over in, like... Red-haired boy. The name... Why name go away from brain? Tarta! I kept thinking... I think thinking Tetcha, but that's not his... Like, we have Tarta and his grandpa over there, and they're from Northern Ireland, sort of. Like, well, I can't do a Northern Irish accent, obviously. And then Tetcha with a very passable attempt at a sort of Danish accent, more Dutch than Danish, and Riche sounding, if anything, kind of Finnish to me, or Estonian. I like that they're willing to go hard on these accents and like really commit to them as like a point of characterization. I enjoy that. I think it's fun. And I think it's a lot, like, in terms of dubbing, I like this a lot better than I like when they tell like American voice actors to just do anime voices. Because anime voice is like, I personally feel that anime voices, like the style of acting that Japanese voice actors use for anime, is pretty contingent on Japanese sociolect, and like the Japanese language is built to accommodate that specific way of expressing and acting in a way that I just don't think English is. Like, I don't ever think it sounds that great when English-speaking voice actors do anime voices as such. I like it a lot better when dubbing is like, okay, what are the voices we can find within this language that match the vibe of what the original show is doing, right? Same thing with, like, that's part of the reason why I prefer the dub of Delicious in Dungeon, is because they really let those voice actors deliver performances that sort of made sense for them without trying to copy the voice acting performance of the originals. Yeah, Marcel. Whoa, hey! That was such a good fucking line read. But also just fucking, like, someone showed doing Senshi. Right? You would kill for me? Like, well, would you eat a good meal for me? Like, he has such a good gravelly delivery on that just, it doesn't match, really, the Japanese voice performance that much at all. Like, when you get right down to it. But it works for him, right? And it makes the character specific to Pro CD. And I like that. I like that they're willing to commit to exploring the possibilities of the English language rather than trying to mimic what's possible in the Japanese language. It's a good little comedy moment, right? Like this, like, oh, right, this is what the cloaks do. Except... uh, it keeps the tone light, you know? It's a scary moment, but not too scary. And then we get this little bit of showing off. Which, again, I might have to get into the filters and make it a little bit less... So, like, this is like a multi-layered shot where we have this layer of the Serpent Road moving independently of the two background layers that are also moving independently of each other, I think. And then we have this hand-drawn tracking shot over the side of the rocky wall. And, like, you can see the animator moving different bits of the wall independently, right? This layer of wall moves upwards around here, right? Like, you can see how it starts to track upwards in a way that doesn't quite follow what the rest of the wall is doing, but it looks good. Like, it gives you that sense of, like, a three-dimensional thing processing past the camera. That's a bit of showing off right there. That's quite nice. Another bit of gorgeous running here. It would have been very easy, or it would have been easier here, rather than animating the snake road, sort of winding, twisting, like going uphill. It would have been easier just to animate like a straight, like a road that just kind of like cycles, right? Like where nothing changes on it. But they animate like the geometry of the damn road as the kids are running over it, which, like, goddamn. And the way they manage it is, like, obviously they just cycle the run cycle of all the kids. They don't really change them custom-like to make them match running uphill, downhill, etc. Which makes sense, because from their perspective, the gravity is always downwards, right? Like, they're never running uphill. They're always running flat, so that makes sense. But that's a really impressive little shot, this. To animate the road like that. And you can see how they do, like, just slight translation of the flat PNGs. Like, moving them a little bit on the in-between frames, just a little bit, adds to that sense of smoothness as they go at full speed. Anyway, I moved ahead. I moved ahead of where we were by accident. That was foolish of me. Anyway, we're back to the marker. We're back where we were. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's a big gap. Nyom! Whee! Yeah, I'm sure you would rather not. 3, 2, 1, pause. What a gorgeous bit of visual effects work here. Like, it's very simple, right? It's just this bright white edge, right, that processes along. But, like, the effects animators are doing a bunch of work, like, varying it and, like... And this here must be, at least in large part, the work of the compositors. Putting together the way that these layers appear. And move down the line. That's gorgeous. This is also an interesting way to render it. Like, because they have to do with the texture, right? And, like, the flatness of the way they render the texture here. Like, they're deliberately doing a very, very flat thing. So that when Riche pulls at the edge of it, it's like she's pulling... Like, it's almost like she's pulling a page, right? She's pulling this two-dimensional thing and making it three-dimensional to them. It's a very cool visual. And then animators with a lot of eye towards dynamism. Using that trailing line to really give... like, that sense of dynamic motion. Man, if they weren't in mortal danger, this looks like it would be so fun. Because it looks terrifying, but they're just sliding down a straight road the whole time, right? Whee! Lots of airtime. Whee! Why do your sylph shoes have such incredible speed? I'd rather not talk about it. I'm sure you wouldn't have got. Because she's not ready to talk about it either. Like, I think Agat is also at this point not quite... Yeah, she's using the sylph shoes. She's accepting the imperfection of them. But I don't think she herself is quite necessarily thinking about why she's willing to accept the imperfection, right? Here's another pretty little bit of animation. Like, the way he's flipping through his choir. They're really paying a lot of attention to the, like, the physicality of the pages, right? Like, not just flip, 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 but, like, he's pushing this almost like it's fabric, right? I like the softness. I like the focus on that. Like, the paper as this, like, soft, yielding thing. And here the cinematography is working overtime on the importance of this moment, right? Remember with Riche, I want to use my own spells no matter what, right? Like, that's her stubbornness. But the consequence of that is... right? We've seen that she, with her spells, with her creativity, she can do miracles. She can do things that other people never even thought about. And there are also limitations to it. She has also imposed on herself some pretty severe limitations in what she's capable of doing, right? Because the only resource she has to draw on is herself. which cuts her off from relying on other people's knowledge, other people's skills as a resource, right? Like, which is the advantage. Like, again, that's that gray zone between, like, yes, Ricci is completely correct in observing that if all she ever does is follow the correct answer and use other people's solutions, she'll never develop into herself, right? Like, that'll stymie her and stifle her. And other people's creativity, other people's ideas and solutions, other people's competencies can be a boon, can be a gift, right? Not an imposition, but an offer, right? She's not being told to use certain solutions. He's saying, here's my toolbox. These are the things that I can do. I'm giving that to you, and then you can use it too, right? Which is the difference between imposing, use these to solve the problem, versus, here's everything I know how to do. Is any of it useful? Right? Here's all the stuff I can do. Take it, use it however the hell you want. Like, if it can be of help to you, use it. And that's a different thing, right? Like, that's a very different thing than use these because they are correct versus take these if they are useful to you. This is something that, part of what I do on my Patreon is I offer design feedback on people's character designs if they want it. And one of the things I have to do many times when I'm going through these feedback sessions is people tend to come to me as like, okay, is this correct? Is this right? Am I doing, is this the correct thing I'm doing? Like, does this work? Am I doing it the right way? And I have to explain many times that, like, there is no such thing. There is no correct way. There is no correct way to do it. And I can't give you any answers. I have no answers to offer whatsoever. All I can give you is my perspective, right? I can challenge your decisions. I can look at them critically. I can offer you feedback. I can offer you alternative ideas. But I can't tell you the right decision. Like the thing, a good critique is not about erasing mistakes from a work. A good critique is about trying to see what the work is trying to do and using your expertise to move the work towards that goal, right? If someone comes to me with a character design for feedback, I never say, well, that sucks and that doesn't work. What I do is like, okay, what are you trying to do? What's the thing that you want to get across? What's the thing you want this character design to do? And then I'm going to try my best to come up with ways that your character design can do the thing you want better, right? Because that's what a useful critique is. It's not a didactic, this is wrong, that's one incorrect, this is a red line, you should fix that. Like, that's what you'll get if you're working on an animation production. You will get those notes. You'll get that feedback, right? Because, like, in an animation production, it's like, no, the character needs to be on model, right? Like, things do need to look consistent from frame to frame. Like, there are some hard solutions and some correct answers here or there. But in a creative process, it's not about finding the correct solution. It's about being a resource for each other, right? Here's all the stuff I figured out. Here's all the stuff I know. I'll offer that to you, and if you can use some of it, if some of it helps you towards doing what it is that you want to do, then take it. And if it doesn't, ignore it, right? That's the other thing is, like, giving good critique is difficult. Receiving critique is also difficult. That's also a skill. Learning to receive a critique and parse it and figure out what it's useful for is also difficult, right? Because even if you go to the best artist in the world and you ask them for a critique and they give you a really good one, there is still a skill in like reading that critique, absorbing it, and trying to figure out, okay, what does that mean for me, right? Because what that person is offering you is what they know. But what they know is not supposed to override what you know. It's supposed to empower it, right? So the job of the person receiving the critique is to go, okay, this seems useful. That's correct. That feels more correct to what I'm trying to do. This is pushing me towards being better at what I want to do. And these things, maybe they're true, maybe they're not, but they don't help me, right? Like, they're not pushing me to where I want to go. So I'm going to disregard those. And that's a hard thing to do. When you receive a criticism, is learning to say, I'm going to ignore that part. Oh yeah, that part, not useful, I'm throwing it out. Because it feels very disrespectful, right? To take a person's critique and just kind of go, yeah, that's not useful, out the window. But you have to be able to do that. Because there are no right answers. It's not about finding an answer. It's about finding a path to an answer. And so for Riche, this is a big moment, right? And you can see the cinematography working absolutely overtime to emphasize this moment, right? Like, the meaningfulness of him offering this spiral, like literally just drawing everything towards this, and her taking it because she's beginning to understand what that means, right? Versus what she's afraid of it means. And that's a big moment for her. I half expected them, I will say, I half expected them to try and make her do an Akira slide. It would have been this would have been a great opportunity for an Akira slide, I will say. She kind of does one a little bit, but it's not quite an Akira slide. Like, they don't frame it the same way. They don't quite do the thing. But it would have been a great opportunity for it. Still an impressive piece of animation, though. Like, the way she swings her weight around, right? Like, she starts from the shoulder here, and then that other arm comes around, like, gets dragged around as she, like, rotates her torso and the legs underneath the robes and slides to a stop. It's beautiful. Great voice performance from her actor as well. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Oof. Oh, that voice actor is going ham with it. Three, 2, 1, pause. Yeah, fucking hell. Ew. Oh, oh, gross, gross. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, yeah, they went hard. Oh my God, they did not go gentle on that one. Ugh, fucking hell. So the visual language in the manga is also... Look, this is the visual language of assault, right? It's the visual language of a bodily violation. Because that's what the brimmed cap is about to do to her. He's about to tattoo her flesh and do something to her body against her will, right? That's what the visual language is. The anime goes very hard on it. It's present in the manga as well. As you can see, right? But the anime really, really makes it explicit that that's what they're doing here. And it, oh, man. Like the liquid dripping on her like saliva and like, oh boy, it's, yeah, no, they pushed. I don't want to examine that in detail necessarily because god damn. But yeah, they push that. They don't let you have any doubt whatsoever about what the visual language here is implying. Which again, that's the thing about forbidden magic, right? Like the philosophy of the brimmed caps is, as Kifri says, when people can do anything, anything is what they'll do. Anything is what they'll do, right? They will violate any boundary. And they're making it very clear here what that means, right? Like, that's... And speaking of bodily autonomy, like, yeah, bodily autonomy is going to be a thing about this. Which is what we talked about, right? Like, healing spells are forbidden as well, because they are spells that affect the flesh. And you kind of sit there going, so you could cure cancer, but you choose not to? That's a hard sell. To say, you guys could cure cancer if you wanted to, but you won't do it. You could save people from deadly diseases, but you won't do it. There are pandemics that could be stopped, but you won't do it because it's forbidden or whatever. Fuck off. But the thing is, who has the power? Who has the power to determine what an illness is? What a disease is? What is a problem to be cured? Who has that power, and how are they going to use it? If witches were able to just freely cast their spells as they please to fix anyone who's deficient in whatever way they like, what would have happened to Tarta? What happens to anyone with disabilities? We've seen the disdain that witch society has for people with disabilities of different kinds. If the witches decided that, oh, well, we have the right to cast spells that alter the flesh of another person, what happens to autistic people? What happens to, like, people with developmental disabilities? What happens to anyone, right? There is that flip side of the coin always, right? Who gets to have the power to do this? And how can that power be abused? Right? Because you can see the possibility, right? As like, magic is a miracle that exists to make the world vibrant. You can see all the good, all the wonderful things that could be done with magic, all the beautiful things that could be changed, the lives that could be altered for the better. And also, you can see exactly how it could be abused and how horrifying that abuse is. And how quickly that abuse is going to get horrifying. And all it takes is someone who decides that boundaries don't apply to them. And someone will, right? So it's that thing of, like, the question isn't black and white. It's not an easy thing with an easy answer. It's something to ponder. As Pumpkin says in chat, remember we live in a world where homosexuality was treated with electroshocks until about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, they still do it in many places. That's still part of conversion therapy, right? We still live in a world in which a lot of things are medicalized. A lot of things are classified as medical problems that the people who have them rather disagree that they are sick or that there's something wrong with them, right? Like trans people, like the country where I live, trans people, if they wanted gender-affirming care, if they wanted hormones, they were forcibly sterilized until 2011. Until then, it was mandatory to be sterilized if you wanted transgender health care. Because there was a power structure that had decided that this thing is a medical problem with a medical treatment, and so we are going to impose upon that body that we own, that we have the right to dispose of, we're going to impose certain conditions on it because we have a certain idea of what is correct, and we're going to impose that on them, right? Power does this. Power structures do this. And that's going to come back with Witch Society and with Forbidden Magic, with the Knights Moralis, with the way that Knights Moralis memory manipulation spell, that is also a bodily violation that is done by a power structure that has just decided that it is better for us if your mind doesn't have those memories in it. If your personality doesn't have those features, we're just gonna grab that. Because we have decided that we have the right to do that, and you don't get a say in it, right? Yeah, no, like, whoa, that was not a pleasant scene. That was, oh boy. Good lord, they did not go gentle on it. They made the metaphor deeply clear. Bloody hell. Okay, let's move on. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh boy. Yeah, like I said, Notice the eyes. Christ, that's well animated. Three, two, one, pause. Like I said, bodily autonomy is a thing that's being thematically employed here. Poor Uni, really just setting up all those deaths. Like, Uni's sitting there like, I'm 2 weeks away from retirement. This is going to be one last job. I'm going to retire to the countryside with my wife and children. Oh, man, it's just scattering red flags everywhere he goes. Oh, poor baby. And we're not using the language of assault quite the same way here, right? Like, they're not doing it the same way they did with Agot, but it's still the same thing, right? It's the same violation. And we get to see that horror play out in full, which is terrifying. The manga takes it a bit more quickly. We get one panel of half transformed, one panel, like a few little bit, and then we're there, right? Like, then that's the end of it. Again, the anime is making use of the format of what it can do. It can manipulate time, right? That's one of the things we talked about with comics. With comics, the reader controls time. Right? In comics, you determine how long you spend on any given page, on any given panel, how much attention you pay. That's your control, right? And the comic offers guidance through the use of gutters to say, okay, each gutter means that a certain amount of time has passed, but the reader is in control, right? Like, you determine how long you spend on anything, whether you want to skip over something, whether you want to move fast past it. And good comics are designed to work with that, which, like, the pages of Uni's transformation definitely are. You can see how they split the moment into these, like, discrete units. Film, and specifically animation, has a different power. In film, you don't control time. Well, I do, because I am kind of God. No, because I have a program open where I can control the specific timing of everything that happens. But watching this, you have to watch this at the pace that it's animated. You have to watch it at the pace that the creators want you to, so they can force you to sit in discomfort for longer. They can say, no, 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 no. This really uncomfortable, painful, unpleasant, scary, terrifying thing, you're here. You're going to be here with me until we're done, right? Like, this is going to take as long as I want it to take. And you're going to have to sit through those feelings in a way that you can't do with comics. This is something that the anime is capable of doing, and they're using it very deliberately. It was the same with the hat, with the brimmed cap and a god, right? Like, it was the same thing that they were doing. They were forcing you to stay in a really uncomfortable space so that you have to reckon with what this means emotionally, right? So that you can't look away or skip over it. You have to face the horror of this transformation. Because again, magic has the power to grant you any wish in the world, including the very horrible ones. Including the painful, terrifying ones. And it really is one of those things. This is an absolutely fucking horrifying and uncomfortable thing. Wow, it's well animated. That looks really nice, the way that they did this absolute war crime. What a beautiful crime against man and decency. But it really is. The way you get this flow down Uni's shape as like the shadows from his wolf cloak. It really is beautiful animation. Like, it's really, really well done. The way that he's completely curling in on himself, and then there's this coughing, right? This... And then... Whoosh. And what a beautiful piece of rough animation. On the full transformation here. Absolutely fucking gorgeous. Here's how it looks in the manga. Right, and you can see in the manga that Shirahama is implying this flow, this bulbousness to it, right? Like this roiling, boiling cloud of eyes and darkness. She's implying that in the artwork, but again, animation has the power to make it real. Once again, pay attention to the eyes. Specifically, the lack of eyes. Yeah, Sasaran, yeah, I'm sorry, buddy, but you gotta die. I'm sorry, you gotta go. You're on the hit list. Once we kill the other two guys, you're next. Oh, man. 3, 2, 1, go. Woof. Oh, I shouldn't have said woof, should I? Just painful thing for Ricci. It's the boy! What a beautiful little bit of animation. 3, 2, 1, pause. Absolutely made of liquid. I've seen my cats do that pose before when they get their heads stuck in boxes, sometimes little cardboard things. I love the timing on that too. Like that little step forward, wait, zoop, and then just wee. Precious thing. Perfect baby. Angel, my love. 3, 2, 1, go. Also, my cats when they want food in the morning. He's fine. Don't worry about it. He's fine. He's fine. Oh, hello. Three, two, one, pause. Everyone feeling normal about Keyfree being injured and bloody and barely able to push himself up off the ground and panting and moaning a little bit. Everyone feeling normal about that? Everyone feeling very Leon Kennedy about that? Oh, you delightful little perverts. Hey, remember the thing I said about eyes and sight? How they're kind of important to the story? Just bringing that up here for no reason. They're just holding on a still here too, right? Like they're not. There's no animation happening. It's just a still that lingers for like, how long does it linger? A full like 2.5 seconds, where they just hold on this silence, nothing. That's pretty good. This is how it's rendered in the manga. They really emphasize it here. I quite like. Once again, what lovely animation on these war crimes. The body horror is beautiful. Really heavy props to the colorists and compositors. Because a gold reflective effect like this, that's a lot of work in the lighting. That's a lot of work in the coloring to make that work, to make them look like gold, essentially. Like, the animator's also doing a lot there with, like, very specific kinds of stiffness to their motion. But, like, the compositors and the lighting artists, I keep expecting a health bar to appear below them saying Ornstein and Smau. Like, the work of the compositors and the colorists, putting all this together and making it work. Reflective metal surfaces is one of those things that, like, compel a lot of animation productions to go with 3D. Because in 3D, you can kind of ask the computer to handle the work of making the reflectivity, like, look reasonably good. Like, look at the way that thing moves, right? Like, that shoulder moves down, other shoulder moves. The head stays steady like a fucking chicken. And then the head sort of, like, creaks forward kind of mechanically a little bit. Look at the way that shoulder just stretches. That one. Like, oh, that's too long. Shoulders aren't supposed to do that. Oh, no. That's no good. They look like a weird combination of, like, really solid and stiff, but then also they're kind of made of goo or rubber. What an interesting combination. really emphasizing the weight too, right? Kiefer's injured, he's having trouble supporting himself, so they're really making him heavy on himself. Three, two, one, go. Okay, so that's where we're cutting it, huh? Okay. Okay. Again, real fucking hand person working on this. That is an animation that's gonna have taken a fucking while to produce. Because it's not just that the hands are moving, it's the way they're rotating. And, like, the slow settle of the muscle and the tissue. You can see how his palm pushes her fingers closed, right? Like, that's how they communicate this idea that he's giving her hand a squeeze. So much aura, he breaks the fourth wall and turns into the manga, basically. What a gorgeous gradual transition. That's beautiful work. Interesting place to cut it, though. This is a chapter end, right? Like, this is the end of the chapter. So it is like a natural breakpoint in the story in that sense, where you can see the anime, but because the anime has to use this as the cliffhanger drop, they really put emphasis on it. Because in the manga, all that it happens is he struggles to stand up, he squeezes Coco's hand, and then we get this, right? Like, so the anime is really pushing it out as, like, an extended... long moment, right? And that makes sense since they have to use it as the season break. But it definitely... yeah, I mean, I guess they had to, because they only had 22 minutes to work with. My assumption was that they were going to cut on Uni's transformation. That was basically, going into the episode, I thought that's where they were going to do it, is Uni transforms, and he's, like, facing down Agat and Riche. And then I thought that was going to be where they were going to cut it. Because that felt like the natural breakpoint to me. I understand why they have it here, though. Because what they're following up on, right, is... the theme they've been running with for the past couple of episodes is this theme of good and bad masters, right? And, like, what is a master's duty to their students? What is a master's duty to their charges? What's a parent's duty to their children, right? And part of the contrast here is the contrast between Kefri and the brimmed caps, right? Because the brimmed caps are looking for apprentices as well, right? But how do they approach the bodies of other people? Like the autonomy, the health and safety of other people? It's fine or whatever. People are things, right? These kids are objects that we can use to further our own goals and reach our own ends, right? Like, which is, again, very much the opposite perspective of what Kefri represents, which is anyone who wants to touch my students has to go through me, right? Who will rip his own body to shreds before he allows, like, a hair to be harmed on any of the children's heads who are in his charge, right? Remember that about Kefri for later. Also, it's part of the complexity of his character. So we're following up on that, right? Like, we're establishing that this is the emotional coda of the season, which is this thing of, like, this is what a real master looks like. Not that fucking useless Wish.com Snape motherfucker who abandoned Uni the moment the test even began, but someone who is willing to stand between harm and his kids, and it doesn't matter if it's going to cost him his life, because that's a master's duty, right? That is the duty that you take on when you take on apprentices, is, like, their needs have to come before your own. That's just how it is. Which, again, compare and contrast with the brimmed caps, who have been doing nothing but using Coco from the moment that they first chose her, right? So we're putting a cap we're putting a cap on that theme, so I get why they chose to cut it here. It's still kind of an awkward place to cut. Like, it's a slightly awkward cliffhanger that for the past 2 episodes we've mostly been following Uni, Ricci, and Agat and their conflict with Sazaran. And then that sort of resolves at a breakpoint, and then we sort of get these last 5 minutes with Coco and Teche, who have not been a part of things up until now, really. And now we're ending on their peril rather than the peril of Agat and Ricci. That's an awkward cut, but they did have to cut it somewhere. And I understand why they want to cut it on Kefri, putting it like a bow on this question of what a master's duty is, right? Yeah, this is the Volume 4 endpoint. Yep. Like, this is also, well, more or less. There is an extra little chapter in Volume 4, which is adorable. We get a little bonus chapter from Brush Buddy's perspective. which is wonderful. And also we get just Shirahama showing off. Look at this fucking illustration of Coco. Fucking look at this. Look at that fucking fabric with the fucking... You don't understand. Look at the patterns in the fabric. Look at all the folding and, like, the layering and the detail. Look at the fucking way that Shirahama fucking draws fucking flowers, right? Because she doesn't fucking draw them with all the fucking details. She fucking, like, just... It's just these little gestures, right? It's just these little scribbly gestures, just shaped enough, like the fucking twisting boughs of like a rose or like a comparable, like the petals of a flower over each other. So much negative space in there, but it works. It fucking works. Like, you get that sense of this, like, big, expansive, like, full flower crown nonetheless with such little detail. And then when she wants to layer on the detail, oh, she can fucking layer on she can go 5 billion miles an hour on detail. And then she also knows when to just use negative space. Just leave some white space. Don't put more stuff in there than needs to be there. Just gesture. Ah, it's such good fucking draftsmanship. Gorgeous. What form do you recommend for the physical manga? Paperback or hardcover? I've ordered the hardcovers because I want them as big as possible, and the hardcovers are larger. They're also fucking expensive. My recommendation is go to the library if you can and get them. That's my recommendation. But if you have the money, oh, get the hardcover. But like, mostly just read it. Just find a way to read it. That's the main thing, is just like, read the manga, because it's gorgeous and it's good. And Shirahama is one of the great comic artists of our generation. Like, there's a reason Shirahama has won a fucking Eisner. Beautiful work. Yeah, slightly awkward cliffhanger. It does make it feel like this is only half of a season, rather than, like, it doesn't feel like we finished a season here, right? Because we haven't really come to a season ending point as such. Which is like, it's hard to find those necessarily in Witch Hat Atelier. It doesn't necessarily have, the story structure doesn't necessarily have breakpoints that are like really good for that. But this is a slightly awkward point. Like, this is a mid-season finale. This is what this feels like. And it feels like the second season of it is going to have to sort of complete the arcs and sort of put a shape to the season. Oh, man, I'm going to be impatient for that. But I'm not going to be impatient for it, because animation takes a long time. This kind of animation takes even longer. God, boy, howdy does it ever take long. And I'm going to wait for as long as it fucking takes. Feels like Dungeon Meshi episode 13. Yeah, Dungeon Meshi has the same thing with it. Keyfree's so normal. You shouldn't worry about Keyfree. Like, all this sudden intensity and how dangerous he seems sometimes, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Everything's fine. Keyfree's fine. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about Keyfree even a little bit. Do not worry about him. this is the scene of Riche being left behind, right? I do think the manga does a better job with it. Because they're trying to do the same thing here, right? That she's left behind and they make her very small in frame, right? She feels very small and helpless, and the world is very big and she's very alone, right? That's effective enough. I do think that having this shot of her alone in the emptiness and then cutting to the empty road, I think that works better. But the anime did what it could with this format. How far in the manga are you now? How far am I? Good question. Where did I get to? I got to... volume 9, I think. That's more or less where I am. Right. I think we are probably done then. Yeah, I think we're done. Boy, that was Witch Hat Atelier. That was season 1. Bloody hell. Like, God, the fucking... They really went hard on that scene with the brimmed cap. I did not expect them to go quite so explicit with it. Because that metaphor was always there, right? Like, the metaphor of the violation was always there. I did not expect them to go quite that hard. That was... Boy, howdy, that was hard to watch. Fucking hell. But again, like, that is the metaphor, right? Like, that is the... Magic can grant you all wishes. And so people will wish for anything, right? Anything. That's the terrifying thing. Again, that's also how Keyfree tells the story, right? Of this magical society is people forget how terrifying they can be, and that's part of what makes people terrifying, right? And that's true. We do, like, it is, because we're all sitting here going, well, I'd never use magic to do anything horrible. I wouldn't, not me. I wouldn't do that. Someone else maybe, but not me. Except, yeah, you too. Me too. Like, you don't know what you're gonna do until you have the power to do it. If the power to do literally anything was in your hand, just draw a little picture and it happens. On your darkest day, what would you do? And that's an uncomfortable question. In the darkest night of your soul, in your most desperate moment, what would you do? Uncomfortable question, right? And that's part of what the story is trying to examine. Boy. Oh, Sassafras, you have to die, man. You have to, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. You have to go. You have to go. You just have to. Bloody hell. The way that they resolve this story arc is good, though. I am excited for you all to see it. Anyway, let's cut it there. And go read Witch Hat Atelier.